Okay, welcome back to the Business Time Mastery Podcast, the podcast where we help business owners implement time management systems that will increase your business revenue, increase your productivity, and most importantly, just make you feel better. I'm Ryan Lloyd, a productivity and time management guru for the past 25 plus years. I'm here to teach you today what I like to call the Business Time Mastery System. Over the last few weeks, the last 7 episodes of this podcast, if you want to go back and review them, we've talked about this business time mastery system and the 7 parts for the system. Today, I want to try to tie a bow around that and explain just a brief overview of these parts and how they can work together. By the end of this episode, you're going to understand why you should have a complete time management system versus just a to-do list or just a calendar or these different things, and why you need a system to be most effective with your time. So the first thing I want to address is, why is a complete system important? Why do I need a system versus, like, I have a to-do list where I write down the things that I need to do every day and I keep track of things that way. I have a calendar where I keep track of the meetings that I have and the events that I have. Why do I need a system? And the answer to that, I think, for me, is just having a to-do list is not enough, and just having a calendar is not enough, because then the question comes up, okay, how do both of those things work together? How do you decide what from your to-do list you're going to work on? And most importantly for me is, how does the stuff that you're working on align to your goals and your vision for your business? How do you ensure that the stuff you're working on every day is the stuff you should be working on? The other aspect to this is, some people try to follow a boilerplate system or a boilerplate method. And I would say a to-do list and just keeping a to-do list and checking things off is one of those boilerplate systems. They don't work for everyone. Time management systems should be customized to you and the way that you like to work, and also your business goals. So some people like digital. Some people like to go all digital with their time management system. They like a digital to-do list. They like a digital calendar. They like to time block digitally on Google Calendars. And some people like a mix. So that's just one of the things that you could customize to yourself, is whether you want to be paper or whether you want to be digital. Some people may like to be paper, but their business and the way that their business works isn't conducive to that. Maybe they need to always be on the move. They need to always have all their stuff in their phone that's always with them. Or they need to coordinate with multiple people in their business. And so digital a lot of times is more conducive to that. So you can see how really understanding how your system works together and really customizing it to you is the best and most effective way to go about this. So what I've done is, I've taken a lot of the things that I've learned from various systems and various teaching methodologies over the last 25 plus years in time management, and I've tried to distill this down into, okay, any good time management system is going to have these 7 parts. Lots of these systems, like getting things done, bullet journal method, the Kanban method, Eisenhower matrix, right? All of these are either a system or parts of a system that you can implement. But all of these systems have a lot of overlap. And what I've tried to do is distill this down into, these are these 7 things that I can see that most of these things that are taught and systems have. So if you can identify these 7 main buckets that you have to have in your time management system, you can then take from these other teaching methodologies and take from these other frameworks, and you can implement those in your system where it makes sense. So like I said, I've done 7 episodes on each part of each of these systems, but today I wanted to just summarize, go through each one and talk about each one individually and talk about how they tie together. Okay, so the first is goals and vision. And if I were to describe where this fits within the system, all the other 6 parts, there's maybe a flow chart that you could you could draw where like your planning flows into your calendar, or your planning flows into your to-do list. That flows into how you're going to prioritize. Goals and vision, I would say, is like a border or a container around all of that stuff. All of your systems should be working towards your vision for your business and your goals for your business. And if they're not aligned, then you're doing something wrong, right? You're working on the wrong thing day to day. Your system isn't serving those larger business goals. So that's kind of how goals and vision relates to the rest of the system. Some implementation tips for your goals. You can go back and listen to episode 1, but start by writing down a 1-year vision for your business, where you want to be, what you want to be doing, and then break those down into quarterly goals, monthly goals, weekly goals. And then you can begin to then, when you're working on tasks every day, ask yourself questions like, does this thing align with my goals and my vision? It's really important to have that, obviously, because that's like the guidepost on which you want to measure everything else that you're working on. So goals and vision is the first thing I have clients start with. It is the most important and the foundation to all of this other stuff that we teach. Okay, and the second part where I talk about this is planning, and that's in episode 2. You can go back and listen to that. But this is kind of where the flow starts, right? It's where everything begins. So you want to get some really good planning practices in place with this. So once you have your vision and your goals defined, you want to do, I would recommend at least 2 types of planning, and that is weekly planning and daily planning. You can do some monthly and some quarterly planning. In my opinion, that's not as important as long as you're making sure that your weekly planning and your daily planning is aligned with your goals and your vision and kind of the near-term goals that you're trying to achieve. To summarize planning, weekly planning, I recommend spending 30 minutes at the beginning of each week planning major revenue generating activities that you want to get done in your business for that week. I recommend doing a daily planning session either the night before or the morning of, where you're identifying only 2 to 3 things that you're going to focus on for that day. Okay, so planning is the first step, and then planning kind of branches off into 2 separate things that I talk about. In episodes 3 and 4, I talk about calendaring as in episode 3 and to-do lists in episode 4. So your planning sessions are going to kind of dictate what you set up in your calendar and then what you put on your to-do list. The distinction I like to make between calendars and to-do lists is your to-do list stuff should not go on your calendar. Your calendar should be set aside for things that are events you are going to attend, meetings that you're going to do, and set aside time blocks for focused work and other things you need to get done within your business. And I'll talk about time blocking a little more and how that works. That's a subsequent part to the system. And then to-do list is another thing, right? As you're planning and things come up, you're going to add things to your to-do list. Your to-do list should be set aside for things you're going to do. The keys with a to-do list, or the big things that I teach, are only have one to-do list. You need to have one source of truth for all the things that you need to get done, not multiple to-do lists spread around the house, all over the place on Post-it notes, that kind of a thing. In your head is an awful way to do a to-do list, and many of us fall into this trap. The whole point of a to-do list is to get everything out of your head, gathered from other places, and get it in one spot. By doing this, you're going to create mental clarity that you have not seen before, because many of us are just trying to store half of the to-do list on a paper somewhere or digitally. Half of it's in our head. As soon as you think of things to do, get it out of your head and down on paper into one to-do list. And then I'll talk about how to really make that to-do list effective in the next step. But first, I wanted to say I do have a free mini course where I go over how to do much of this stuff in 15 minutes. It's at ryanloyd.com/free course. It's called Escape Business Overwhelm. Plan your optimal business week in 15 minutes. The course itself is 15 minutes, and then it will teach you how to, in 15 minutes each week, plan your optimal business week. So go check that out right now and go download it. It's totally free. Okay, so let's go tie this back into to-do lists. So the The next part of this system is prioritization. And this is what really makes your to-do list effective. So, like I said before, you have this main to-do list, one place where you have everything written down. It's not in your head, it's not scattered around. But then when the mistake many people make is they will then just review that to-do list each day, and they'll go through and they'll say, okay, these are the things that I'm going to get done, or they'll just work off of that to-do list during the day. Prioritization is so important as this part of the time management system. Not all tasks are created equal. You can have an item on your to-do list that is, oh, I need to return an email to this person that maybe isn't even like a client or anything. And then you have a task like, I need to spend 1 hour making sales calls to all of these people to try to gain new clients. Obviously, in a lot of cases, one of those tasks is more valuable to your business than the other. And that's where prioritization comes in. So the main thing that I recommend doing is taking that main big to-do list. Each day, you're going to identify only 2 or 3 things that you're going to work on or focus on for the day. No more than that. Because what happens is you either won't get that stuff done, or if you do get more than the 2 or 3 items done, the other stuff that you're achieving is probably like your lower priority or lower value tasks. There's a ton of ways to prioritize. You can use the Eisenhower matrix. You can use methods in the bullet journal. There's a bunch of different ways that you can prioritize. You just need to find one that fits you, and one that most importantly gets focus on those revenue generating activities for your business. All right, the next part of this system is time blocking. So once you have things prioritized, you know what you're going to work on either on a weekly or a daily basis or both. It's important to set aside chunks of time or time blocks to get those revenue generating activities done. And then most importantly, protect the time blocks, especially the deep work, high value time blocks. If something comes up, you either need to move that time block to another day or another hour, but you need to protect that time if you can't deflect things that are distracting you or things that come up. During these time blocks, I recommend doing deep work sessions, which means that you're eliminating distractions by turning your phone off, getting in an environment that is conducive to deep work. I also recommend using the Pomodoro technique, which is dividing those deep work sessions up into chunks, whether that's 45 minutes of really focusing on what you're working on and taking a 15-minute break, whether that's 25 minutes of work and a 5-minute break. During those breaks, you want to step aside from what you're doing, go somewhere else, go for a walk, go get a snack, get some water, that kind of a thing. This will help you keep working, especially through those really long 3 to 4 hour time block deep work sessions that you've set aside for yourself. Okay, so those are the main parts of the system. The last part of the system is the review period. This is key to making sure you're customizing the system for you, and also key to knowing that the system's working for you and your business. So on a daily and a weekly basis, I recommend reviewing how that day went and reviewing how the week went. Asking yourself important questions like what worked today or what did not work today. And then asking yourself why those things didn't work. I recommend using the 5 whys method. I talk about that in the review episode. You can go back and look at that. But it's basically asking yourself, okay, this thing didn't work. And ask yourself, oh, why didn't it work? And then answer that. And then ask yourself again, okay, why is that? And answer that question. And you kind of drill down, and the whole point of that is to get to the root cause of what's working and what's not and why, so you can then make adjustments. This is key to the system because this is the way that you find what works for you and the way that you land on the system that works for you. It's also the way that your system evolves over time. Once you find something that's working for you today in time management, it's very, very likely and unavoidable, really, that that system will need to change as your business grows and as you change as an individual. And that's basically it. It's those 7 parts. Like I said, the whole idea behind this is you can swap in things that work for you in those 7 buckets that really fit you and how you would like to work and what's most effective for you. When you have a complete time management system that's structured yet flexible, the whole advantage is you gain control of your time, you reduce stress, and make a real progress towards your business goals. Like I said, if you want to learn the core things for this system very quickly, go check out my free mini course, ryanloyd.com/free course, teaching you how to optimize your business week in just 15 minutes a week. That's basically the business time mastery system and what I teach and what I base my coaching off of. If you enjoyed this episode of the Business Time Mastery podcast, please subscribe, leave me a review, shoot me an email, catch me on Instagram. Ryan Lloyd Coaching is my handle. I would love to hear from you directly. Until next time, take control of your time, master your productivity, and build the business you've always envisioned.